Welcome to the show. There's so much great sport coming up. Of course, this weekend the Super 15 starts and the World Cup cricket, and not far behind that the ANZ Championship. First game for the Steel, 1st of March against the Swifts here in Invercargill. Wendy Frew, the captain of that team, with me to talk through the pre-season tournament they've just returned from. Good evening, Wendy. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
First of all, Netball Centre, they reckon, had a wow factor, this new venue in Australia.
It was a great venue. We hadn't obviously been, never been in that area, but just to see it and playing it was a fantastic weekend, and the courts are great and just a great atmosphere all round.
Because they're going to be hosting the World Cup there, aren't they? So it's timely that it's ready.
Yeah, and they've certainly spent the money on it. Great facilities, changing rooms. So it was good to be the first netball tournament in it. And
you had some success. It took a while to get your momentum, but knocking over an Australian team, not many did it that weekend.
It's always nice to beat an Aussie team, but reasonably happy with the weekend. Obviously, 2 out of 5, so not too bad, but would like to be winning those tighter games. The good thing for us was when we lost, we only lost by 2 threes, and we lost by 6 also. So that's, I guess, a positive that we didn't let the scores blow out like some other teams.
I quite like the format. It was a lot of short games, wasn't it? 15 minutes each way, and then on the last day you had a full game to finish off with. Yeah,
we started with a full game and finished with one. So as you said, and the short games in between. So it's still really good to hit those 60-minute games out, so you know where you're at fitness-wise and just who can push themselves when you're getting tired out there on the court. So really good in terms of playing the full games, but also the short games. So we got to experience playing some more teams than you do when you play the long format.
Of course, not all players were available, were they? I imagine some of the Diamonds, some of the Silver Ferns had to be sort of managed because they've got international programs. But still, most teams gave everyone some game time?
Yeah, most teams. I mean, pre-season, no one's putting it all out there, so they might do it for a quarter and then change it up. So it's certainly, nice to get the wins, but you can't really get a lot out of it. You're just more trying to work as a team and make sure your team's a success and the combinations are working. So, yeah, for us, it was a good hit out, and we played some teams with, the Aussie Stars and the Ferns in it. So good gauge for us, for sure.
And what did you read into the Swifts? Because, as I mentioned, they're your first opponents.
Yeah, Swifts. I'm pretty stoked we've got them in Invercargill, put it that way. But, yeah, they're looking sharp. Recruited really well, I think, what they've done. And, yeah, just some really good experienced players out there. So we're going to have to bring our A-game come first game of the season, which is a good challenge.
We say it every year. Is it the year of the fever? They went through unbeaten, and that shocked a few, I think.
Yeah, they played great. Like, they didn't just beat teams. Like, I think they put 20 points on the Mystics. So huge pre-season for them, and they'll get some confidence out of it. And I think they'll certainly be up there at the end of the season. I know we've been saying that for years, so you never know. But they certainly in pre-season they had a really good bench too. So. Hopefully for Erin's sake they go good too, apart from us.
It'll be a boost of their confidence too, wasn't it? Because they've really struggled to make an impact outside of Perth, really. Yeah,
they certainly have. I know, we travel all the way to Aussie and it is hard work, and that's what the situation they're put in. But at the end of the day, they've just got to get over there and try to get wins away from their home venue. So I'm sure they'll be, getting confidence out of that pre-season and moving forward into the season with, some good confidence, as I said, and trying to build those wins together.
And what do you think was the key to that victory over the Thunderbirds, the win you had over the Aussie team?
Yeah, we didn't make changes. Like, we kept the team the same and just grafted it out, really. Like, they're a good side and they did some good things against us, but we probably didn't throw as many balls as we had the previous game, so a bit safer on attack, and Tipai really stepped up that game against the Australian style defence. So all in all, sort of a good team effort, but at the same time players like Tipai stepped up, which really helps Jay in the circle also.
Last time I spoke to you, there's a big focus on fitness this year. Now, a tournament such as that, high intensity, would have tested it. Did you come through? Yeah,
we come through. The girls have worked extremely hard. In fact, I think it's probably the hardest as a team we've all worked in the off-season, and really shows over there that you've put in the hard yards. Obviously, the games are still tough and you're still sweating up a storm out there, but really happy with the girls' fitness and how they lasted throughout the 5 games, because even though they're shorter games, you're still warming up, warming down. Still a big few days full of netball.
What about the physicality at that level at pre-season? Is it as intense? Are people body on body so much?
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Like, you play your pre-season games against each other, and from locals in here, but you certainly know when you've had an ANZ team, and that's what we found on the weekend. So hitting the Fever first up, they're a physical side, so for us, probably took us a few minutes to get used to that hard contact, but you soon know you're back on the court playing an ANZ team, and there's certainly no holding back out there, which is what it's all about.
Well, there's no point, is there, in a pre-season game? Otherwise, what's the benefit of the practice?
Yeah, no, you need to, you need to get as much out as you can and see what combinations work and what players can step up against certain players and who can come off the bench well and stuff like that. So there's so much to gain out of pre-season, and we're really happy with how we went over there in terms of learning and developing all those aspects.
What about, that was your full-fledged time as captain, wasn't it? Taking over the team in a competition situation. How did you find that from an experience point?
Really enjoyed it, actually. It's a young, enthusiastic bunch of girls, so I reckon that makes my job a lot easier. But yeah, still, obviously, there's always things for me to work on, but just trying to, lead by example on the court, and I feel the rest of it will come.
Is there a lot of talk on the court with this team, given that you've got a blend of experienced players and you?
Yeah, I guess as captain, it's always your job to step up and talk, but we're trying to make it so other players feel comfortable to talk up and speak up and change certain things that's going on the court. So sort of trying to develop that, and it's coming, but we probably still need to work on that a wee bit more. But in terms of everyone pulling their weight and stuff, it certainly will make my job easier when other players are talking and looking at what else we could do on the court to change things if we're perhaps getting beaten in a quarter.
What did you do positionally? Did players tend to specialise in their own position, or did you mix and match and get a few combinations going? Yeah,
certainly mixed it. Pre-season you need to see what combinations are working and putting people in different positions that maybe they not their number one position. So we've certainly done lots of that, which was good to know, and JB and the coaching staff now know what players can play in what positions and against different opposition and stuff like that. So really good gauge to see who stood up over there.
And results aside, Fever obviously dominated the scoreboard, but was there another Australian team that you thought might actually be the one that rises to the top in their section? Yeah,
probably the Swifts. They're pretty good. They're so fast, and as I said, they've recruited really well, so it'll be a tight one come their first game.
Well, they'll be finding their feet in the competition too, so perhaps any team's vulnerable, it's going to be week one.
Yeah, and it'll be great to play them at home too, so probably better hitting them now in the next few weeks, and later on they might have had a bit of time together, so yeah, always nice to hit a gun team like that early.
And a continuance of the Pulse-Steel rivalry there, just another very close game between the two. They're always close. Yeah,
they're always close. I mean, there's a lot of friends in the Steel and Pulse, so you go on the court and shake their hands and give them a kiss, and then after that it's game time. And as mates, on the court, whatever happens out there stays out there. So you've got to be mature about that, and it's certainly like that on the court. You give it your all, and then off the court your mates again. So it's good that you can do that. It takes a while to learn how to do that, but they're certainly good encounters, and it's a game you always look forward to playing.
And the Magic, how do they look? Of course, former champions and been there or thereabouts a few times. Are they looking strong this year? Yeah,
they had a few players out, so obviously probably not at their full strength, but good opportunity to get the younger ones out, and they stood up reasonably well too. So I think Magic in the past haven't gone so well in pre-season, and they step up in season, and I'd imagine it would be the same for them.
The Tactics and the Mystics to a certain degree have struggled in recent seasons. Are they showing signs of perhaps drafting well and getting a good squads together? Or?
I think the Tactics, they've always a team that play really well at pre-season and then perhaps better a wee bit in season, but they were looking good over there. They had a good few wins, and I'm pretty sure Mystics didn't win a game actually. I was going to say unbeaten, but the opposite to that. Yeah. So they'll be disappointed. They certainly had some of their guns out on court too, so they've certainly struggled in the past with a really good lineup, so I know the coaching staff will be working them extra harder to ensure they don't get the bottom of the table.
Well, there's not much time. In fact, the first game I think is actually on the 28th of February, but your game, of course, that weekend. In between then and now, have you got game time against anyone, or is it just sort of a post-practice?
Yeah, we're actually heading up to the mighty Otaki to Pyra and Hoochie's hometown. So we've got a game against the Pulse and the Tactics up there over the following weekend. So that'll be a great head out before our first game. So it's a week before our first game. So can't ask for a better, start in terms of prepping for that, and playing in the season opener the next week. So really excited about that, and it'll be great to get up there and and play 2 hard games.
And I know there's a concentration on sort of bonding sessions in between now, a few other activities off the court that might just get you together as a unit.
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, you've been training so hard and it's all just business, so it's nice to have a bit of downtime and get out of that netball brain and just be yourself in a different environment. So it certainly will be nice to have a couple of days away doing that.
And it's good to be in such an exciting year, isn't it, with so many sporting events coming up. People get into the mode of just enjoying sport, and it flows into netball too. Yeah,
that's what we want. We want people watching the games and enjoying it and wanting to come and sit on the seat and support us. So hopefully we can, build the crowd numbers up and they'll come behind us and get vocal and get us over the line with some good wins.
We wish you all the very best. Of course, we'll talk to you throughout the season, but good luck with that last couple of weeks of preparation.
Cool, thank you.
That's the South Today tonight. See you tomorrow.